Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to answer a question that I had from a viewer actually about the X-T4 and the shutter button not working. Now I did a video the other day on the X-T4. If you want to check that out, by all means check it out. I've got a couple of videos up. There's one on the film simulations and also one on some of the settings there as well. But onto this video. So if your shutter button isn't working, and this is the question we had, when you're pressing down the shutter, it's not taking a picture. There's a few reasons why this might happen. We'll kind of break it down in this video from kind of the first steps to check all the way down, and that should hopefully solve your problem of the shutter button not working. First off, you want to make sure obviously your battery is charged and has power. You may have a battery that's dead, and it's just you think it's on. The cameras are so quiet these days that you're turning it on, you're just kind of taking a picture, not paying attention, necessarily looking through the viewfinder, looking at the screen, or the screen's turned around, and it's just not working. The battery might be dead. Take the battery out, give it a check, and then put the battery back in and make sure, try and turn it on, look at the screen to make sure you actually have power. If you don't, you'll have to charge up the battery. That probably will solve that problem. Another thing that is a big problem with cameras is you may not actually have a it sounds simple, but because there's two card slots with the Fuji X-T4, you may, if you've only got one card in the slot, you may have it in the second slot and you're not getting the warning, you're not seeing the warning that there is no card in the number one slot. So make sure that you do have a card in the slot. If you're just turning it on, trying to take a picture, it's not going to work without a memory card in it. Onto memory cards. These can be a little bit finicky. They're very small, right? The SD memory cards, they inevitably will stop working. I've had a few kind of conk out at me, and I don't even think there's one brand better than the other. Sometimes they just stop working. So what you can do is, if your shutter button's not working, make sure you got a card in the first slot, but take it out and put it back in. Sometimes that will solve your problem as well. It's just maybe the contacts haven't been you know, touching properly. Also take it out and kind of inspect your card, and you can kind of almost brush it off with a soft cloth, just to make sure that the contacts are clean on the memory card before putting it back into your camera. That will probably help that problem if it's something with your memory card. Now another thing with a memory card too is a lot of them have little sliding locks on them. You're not gonna be able to see this very well on the camera, but there is a sliding lock forward and back here. And that sometimes, if you have it out in your bag or your pocket, that will get locked, and if that will prevent your card from writing a picture on it. So that may be your problem as well. Just double check that your card isn't locked. So those should solve the memory card problems. If you've done the check on the contacts on your card, it's not locked, you might want to try a different memory card, because sometimes they do, like I said, conk out, stop working. So you want to get an extra one and just check it with that as well. On the note with memory cards, you don't have to have the latest and greatest, fastest one if you're taking just pictures, but you want to buy a decent memory card as well. So that could be your issue. Another thing that you'll want to double check is with the lens. It's kind of a good idea to possibly just take your lens off and put it back on, because there actually is electronic contacts on your lens as well that have to make contact in order for the camera to work. Now on that note, if you are using a lens adapter with some third-party lens that's not a Fuji X mount lens made specifically for the camera, you'll have to go into your menu settings and set the camera to be able to take a picture with it's going to sound weird, but take a picture with a lens off, because a lot of the third-party adapters, or if it's a manual lens, they don't have the electronic contacts on there. So if you've got a different lens on your camera, your Fuji camera doesn't think there is a lens attached, so it won't release the shutter. That is one of the issues you may have had with if it's a lens. So double check that's first take off, put back on, make sure it's seated properly, make sure the contacts are clean on the lens as well, and then check that. That may solve your problem. But if you're using a third-party lens, make sure you go into the menu settings and turn your camera to be able to release the shutter without a lens. That will work for your manual lens, third-party lenses, and if you've got a lens adapter on there as well. So those are my tips for getting your shutter release button to work. Barring all of those, if it's still not working, what I would recommend doing is going into your menu system and resetting your entire camera. You'll want to reset it to basically the factory reset. You're going to lose all your settings that you have saved, unfortunately, but it's going to reset it to be back on like factory settings. So if maybe you've changed something that's just not working, that may solve it. And also too, barring all that, and again, this is something you should probably do all the time, is double check that your camera firmware is up to date. That may be an issue. Double check that your camera firmware is up to date, as well as your lens firmware is up to date. So I'll do another video on how to check your Fuji firmware updates. I've actually updated both my lens and my camera quite recently, but I will do a video on that. So be sure to subscribe so you'll get notified on that. So if you're new to the Fujifilm system, you'll know how to and learn how to update the firmware on your camera. So I'll do that the next time a new firmware does come out. They do update it, not very regularly, but every once in a while there'll be a new update come along. So I'll do a video next time it's out. In the meantime, like I said, subscribe to the channel. Do hit the thumbs up if you do like this video. You can subscribe on the button down below. And until my next video, you can check out all these ones. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.